Live. Yes, it is that time. Welcome, everybody, to 420 Live. I'm your host, Jeff Kravitz, coming to you live above the Chesapeake Bay. I am vacating. I am having a moment with nature out here on the Chesapeake Bay. I've been bird watching and meteor watching and lightning and thunder watching and weather watching and laying in my cousin's pool, and just the rain came in today. And it's, I realized one thing in my revelation. Every day you should have a revelation. My revelation today was that the disease is not outside. So everybody should get outside and enjoy themselves as much as possible, because, summer, especially here on the East Coast where I am, is a fleeting situation. So it is going quick, gone. We're almost, towards the last couple of weeks of summer, and I am hanging still on the East Coast, hanging tough, and visiting my cousin Bob here in Maryland and the Chesapeake Bay. I've never been to this region before. It's absolutely beautiful, but it is hot. It's hot out there. So it's nice to be able to cool off. Went for a little boat ride, living the life. Yesterday's show with all our super fans, I want to thank the guys. What a spectacle that crew is. The Henry Schwab and Josh Finkenberg and Mandy Berman, all the hardcore fish heads that have been keeping us all entertained before the pandemic and during this pandemic, as we tune in and watch the dinner and a movie. Last night's show was bonkers. It was so great. I'm staying with my friend Armand, who was one of the first bookers. He says hello, by the way, Marco. He booked Amsterdam and a bunch of other stuff. Armand Sadlier, and he is doing. He was hanging out. We were just talking and shooting the crap, and we're out here enjoying our life and figuring out what is going on with live music. And I don't know if you saw, there was a concert in the UK yesterday, and they had everybody on little 5 foot by 5 foot platforms. And Armand showed me a show where people were in circles with 4 chairs in them. So there is live music happening out there, and you see it. It's starting to happen. It's starting to bubble up. And, I think Pete Shapiro might not, everybody's calling him crazy for locking, but, if it's on, I'll go be socially distanced. I'm realizing the whole outdoor thing is a gift, and you have to be outside and take advantage of what is happening out there, and that's summer, and enjoy yourself as much as you can. And I'm not saying you got to be smart, folks, because the whole thing's crazy. We don't know what's going on, but you can't trust anybody. So trust us to keep you distracted, because that's what I've been coming to you for since March 13th or 16th was my first show. And we've done about 110 shows coming to you, keeping you totally entertained, I hope, and distracted from what's going on out there in the big bad world. And our guest today is Marco Benevento, and Marco has been a stalwart on the scene since first coming on with the duo and blowing everybody's mind out how 2 guys could carry a show and keep you entertained. But they didn't know those 2 guys, and one was Joe Russo, and the legends that happened out of that, all the legendary shows and fun. And this is I would say, second, maybe even third generation jam band. JRAD could be a third generation jam band at this point. So Marco's been on the scene keeping us entertained. We're going to bring him on because I know he wants to talk to everybody. Hello, Marco.
What's up? Yeah, what's up? Oh, let me adjust this a little bit. Hi, guys.
Are you in your studio?
Hell yeah, I'm in my studio. It's where I've been for the last however many months.
You've been hiding there?
I've just been in this place right here. Yeah.
I saw you performing with Josh Raskin's place. When is that close by?
Right. Yeah, when you were talking about live music starting to bubble up again, I was like, oh yes, that's very true. I just played outside on a deck, an enormous deck, like easily 1,200 square foot, just enormous, huge deck. And there were little squares, and everybody was in their own little pod. And I set up a keyboard and played from 7 to 10 and had the best time playing. Just played some dead tunes, played some of my own tunes, played some Nina Simone, played some classical music, played all sorts of stuff. And it was such a fun time that Josh was like, what are you doing next Saturday? So I am going once again this Saturday to do it again, because I honestly had so much fun. One of my dreams and goals in life is to have be somewhere where I'm at a piano and there's all these people around me. And when anybody says a song that I know, every single song that anybody suggests I play. So
your goal is to be in a piano, play a piano bar, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly. My goal is to know every song that is requested upon me in an evening. Just one evening where I know every single song that someone suggests. So anyway, and Josh literally wrote out like 2 pages of songs that he wanted me to play because of we had an epic night at this festival called Equifunk, and I played from 3 a.m. to like 8 a.m. and I played a bunch of covers. And everybody was just singing around us. It was so much fun. And Josh was at that that night, and we played a bunch of tunes like "Let the Sunshine In" and like "My Girl" and like songs that everybody could sing along to. And so I basically did that at his house, and that was really fun. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm learning.
What about the rest of your band?
The rest of my band, that's a great question. We've seen each other. I've seen Karina a couple of times. Karina's been here a bunch. We've hung out, at a distance, which is kind of weird, so I guess I just don't know about introducing everybody back into the mix. I'm kind of nervous about everything.
They've been doing these shows where people are socially distanced, and now they have these 20-minute quick tests and all this stuff. And people are like, if you want to come to this show, you got to pay $100 for a 20-minute quick test. I have friends doing stuff in their backyard in LA like that, and they're like, they want everybody to be safe.
Totally. I am playing with Karina in like a couple weeks. We're playing in Woodstock on the 5th of September. Karina and I are just doing a thing, like finally for the first time. So I guess I am, I'm getting a little bit more open to the idea, but it's just a little nerve-wracking, with kids and with school and with also my parents who are 73 and older, and I'm seeing them, and I just all these elements of people seeing certain people. It's just really, it's like frightening, like to hear from your kid, like, Dad, I don't want to get COVID, and you're like, yes, you don't want to get COVID. Like, I agree. We don't want to get COVID. So any risk, we get a little nervous about. But
it does seem like they're coming to some kind of way to be dealing with it better, where the death rate isn't as bad and stuff like that. I mean, they figured out a way to work with it. But I say that, and then I just read about the death rate in LA doubling. I mean, it's really fucked because you really don't understand what's going on because we don't have the leadership giving us pure direction on what we can do and stuff like that.
Oh my God. Yes. Don't even get me started. It's I every day just gets worse. I'm appalled. I just can't wait for him to get out of there. And I think he's gonna get out of there in November. But it is out of hand how it took our president up until July to put a mask on, right? Didn't he, like, for the first time? Had we done that in April, or things would be so much different. It's so frustrating.
Well, what was interesting was they said that once he realized that it wasn't killing his voters, he was like, all right, I'm not supporting this anymore, but because it was going after minorities. So he's like, fine. I mean, but it's just what a mindset to have to deal with a monster like that can't, be unifying. It blows my mind.
It blows my mind to see all these other countries doing so well, or at least getting better, and all these other countries just providing like whatever the country needs so people can get by, because nobody has a job, or majority of the people don't have any work, and people might get evicted. It's like, just help us out. And a lot of other countries have been doing that to their folks, but here it's like this number crunching. I don't even understand there's no love. You know, it's like I was thinking the other day that Trump needs to just take a little acid and
Do you think that would work though? I don't know.
he would just be like, "Oh man, I don't think I'm doing the right thing." Like he might. I do think something would happen. I think he would.
Well, you know, this is interesting what you're talking about, because I don't know if you know Timothy Leary is, right?
Of course, yeah.
Well, Timothy Leary was giving psychedelics to hardened criminals when he was at Harvard. That was part of his research, was going into the prison systems and dealing with guys, unrepentant criminals. And they were like, one dose of mushrooms, and they'd be like, "Oh, murder's a crime? Oh, like, I get it."
Right. I truly think he needs to connect with something that he's not connected with at all, which is just like humanity and love and like understanding and like the world coming together versus like nations and, you know, armies and, oh God, well,
you know, your life, you're an artist, you're a communicator, you build bridges, you reach out to people, you know, you use your talent to magnify your message, which is peace and love. And this individual, who I just don't want to mention his name, but he spent his whole life trying to make himself better and not trying to make anything else better but himself. And I think that's what the real thing is. When you're true, when your goal isn't money, and, you know, I know that's really hard to say to a musician, because especially at this time, I'm sure you're seeing how valuable the money is. But
yeah, it's a whole nother ball game right now for me. I gotta say, it's crazy.
Because you're on the circuit and you were doing really well. I mean, you probably had a lot of gigs booked this summer. And
oh man, yes, the amount of texts that go between Joe and I about what we could have been doing this weekend, and you know what we would be making potentially that weekend. And I'm just like, oh, we need to not talk about this anymore, because I don't even know. I'm on a whole nother boat in the water. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell to do. I'm like out there. I'm like, actually, it's kind of been interesting. It's kind of been fun. I gotta say, I have been teaching some Zoom lessons, and I've been really getting to know like lots of people, and I really, really like connecting with people musically, and sometimes people just want to talk about music in general and what they're working on. And sometimes we don't even really get technical or anything. We just talk music and talk about, I don't know, the good old days. And it's like, it's really fun to like connect with people. And, you know, anyway, I've been doing that and playing, you know, out on big porches and things like that. But,
well, yeah, you have to keep yourself busy, especially in this time. So, you know, let's talk a little bit about JRAD, because before JRAD, you guys were kind of like, you were all working, but the level of like how fast JRAD hit and how quick you guys moved up to headliner, I was blown away when I saw you guys. I don't think it was a year before you were headlining festivals.
Yeah, I am amazed at Joe's ability to sort of map that all out. I mean, he knew what he was doing. Joe and Pete Costello really, really dialed it in. They and with Shapiro, you know, years and years of, you know, of Joe playing with Fat Mama and going through the wetlands, and then touring with me, and then touring with all sorts of folks, and then touring with Further. And then I feel like a light went on, you know, and I remember hearing that from Joe, even about when Joe had the idea of putting JRAD together. Even in the first place, we were hanging out at my house, and Joe was still in Further, and we were having a bunch of whiskey, and it was late, and he was in Further. He was playing with Further for a while, and I was like, when this whole Further thing is done, like, you're not gonna ask me to play any Grateful Dead songs, are you? Like, I was just waiting to cheers him for him to be like, no. He was like, we cheers, and he's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I might ask you to learn some Grateful Dead songs. And I was like, oh no, like, this might be happening. And even from that moment, I feel like, which was even probably like a year before JRAD even started, I feel like Joe knew where all those sort of building blocks could go for it to be a successful touring band. They're like, we're going to play this room one night. Well, you know, it'll be a smaller room, but we'll sell it out. And if you sell it out, you know, it was really strategic. You know, I was really impressed. And then, of course, putting all of us together, it has a lot of magic. And it was nice to see that magic put together with Joe's sort of, smarts and Costello as well, and even Pete Shapiro, to pull it all together in a way where, like, within 2 years, you could see that band was going to be like a band that people were talking about. And Joe is really involved in the fans and the music and the set list, playing with Further. He knows what like messes with people's heads, and he knows what.
But that was something he had to learn too, because he was not familiar really with the Dead's catalog before
I know.
hit him up, right?
Which is amazing. I know. Like, I see pictures of Joe's kids on Instagram with like Grateful Dead, onesies on, and I'm like, if I send this picture to you when you and I were punk rocking it, in the Subaru, being like, we're not a jam band, we hate all this tie-dye shit and all, fuck this, like all this stuff. And like, if I had been like, look, this is your kid, dude, in like 10 years, like Grateful Dead's cool, like it's okay, or anyway, it's bizarre because we were sort of anti, I don't know, all that just sort of noodly hippie business. We were like we were thinking we had to write better songs. Little did we know that those songs were way better than any song that we were trying to write. So, that we're like in this now, and it's amazing. I feel like it took 2 years for it to just grow to this like Red Rocks, crazy thing. And now we're having, we've always had so much fun with it, but now we're at a level of having fun with it that it's like now we're just messing with ourselves and everything, and we're really getting into the music and the jamming and the the segues of songs, and so it's all really, it's just great music to be playing 40 nights a year, on the road, playing with your homies. Like Dave Drywitz, we've known forever. He's like the most amazing bass player I've ever played with my entire life, and as a personality, he's incredible. And that just goes all across the board, from Tommy to Scott, and Joe and I have the deeper connection of knowing each other since we were 13. So
wow.
So that's a thing.
Well, yeah, and then the first time I saw you guys was the duo, and in that incarnation, I was like, how is a keyboard and a drummer going to be that entertaining and like carry a whole set? And damn, I was blown away. The duo had so much energy. I mean, you guys it just was really engaging, and we were instrumental. You really didn't have any. You weren't singing at that point, right?
No, we were full on like downtown New York City, experimental, kind of freaks, where we would just improvise and like do whatever we wanted to do, and then we kind of started to learn songs, and it grew. But anyway, we weren't singing at all. I wasn't singing at all then. I was basically right out of Berklee College of Music. So I was wanting to be in like a jazz
artsy jazz band.
Something, art, like a trio or like an electronic thing, And then I ran into Joe, and he was playing with my friends from Berklee at a small club, and we kept in touch, and anyway, the rest is history. But
yeah, and just very, like I said, very unique for a duo to be that captivating. I mean, that was also at the time of Medeski, Martin, Wood, right? Kind of when they started too. So they were like a trio, and you guys, and it was all they had different was the bass, which really isn't a lot. I mean, it is a lot. Chris Wood's an amazing bass player, but I'm just saying it's not like a lead instrument like a guitar or sax or something like that. It's holding down the rhythm, But it's very compelling music coming from very few musicians on stage, which was really intriguing for me to see. And
those guys, we looked up to those guys immensely. Like when I heard Medeski, Martin, and Wood in 1995, I was like, that's it. That's exactly what the sort of next thing is. It's like not quite traditional organ music, and it's not quite jazz, and it's not quite rock, but it has this element of like Jimi Hendrix and Miles Davis, but it has this playfulness of I don't even know, like the Meters, You know, like it's
It was
really
funky. It was definitely funky for sure.
definitely fun. And like the MMW. I remember the first time Joe and I played a festival was at the High Sierra Music Festival in 2002, and I remember like Billy not having something like the duo and Besky Martin Will were playing, and of course a lot of other bands, but MMW had a gig somewhere, and Billy didn't have a drum set somehow, and they asked Joe if Billy could use his drum set, and we were all just like, "Oh my god!" You know, we looked up to them, and then Billy was like, "Oh, thanks, man," and then you can come out and play some cowbell on the last song or something, and we were both just like, "Oh, that's so amazing! You're gonna play MMW." So we like looked up to them, you know, immensely. We love them, and now we know them personally, and I've played with them a bunch, and which is really cool. But yeah, our thing eventually evolved into more like, you know, compared to like MMW, which you would think is more of a funk sort of jazz category. Our thing moved to like this rock songs without lyrics kind of category, like almost like we looked up to Radiohead as well. So it was like almost like Radiohead with no lyrics in our minds, you know, and sort of we called our music jazz love rock, because there was like it felt like it was really emotional, and all the some of the melodies were almost singable, and even on that second record we made, that first song, Play Pause Stop, has like us going like oh, you know, but our thing evolved more into like the rock category, and we were playing, you know, we went from the Knitting Factory playing like 3-hour experimental sets to like playing a cool little rock club in New York where we had like 1-hour set where we played like 8 songs, you know, and we were like kind of composing more and songwriting more. And right around that time, we like met Mike Gordon and started playing with Mike Gordon, and then Trey heard about it, and then Trey took us on tour. And
well, that was great. You're talking about Grab, right?
Yeah. And then so we even played some of our sort of rock tunes. Oh, my light just went out. We played some of those tunes with Trey and Mike, and toured around and played big venues, and it's kind of like JRAD in a way, where the duo just took off, you know, pretty organically. I guess, you know, JRAD is a different story, but you know, it took off. The duo took off pretty quickly, and we were playing with like 2 guys from Fish at like, you know, the Garden State Arts Center.
You guys were like a version of Fish, really.
Yeah, we were like, I was 20. I remember my birthday, I turned 29 on that tour, you know, and I was like, when I was 29, I was like, oh yeah, man, we'll be living in tour buses all day. Like, this is going to be great, you know? And then we went back to touring with the duo, and it was the same, just kind of same rooms, you know, and we you know, you kind of get humbled out a little bit. You're like, oh right, yeah, like we're the duo, like there's no 2 guys from Fish in our band. But so anyway,
that brings you a certain level of attention.
Yeah.
I know you weren't in the Dead growing up. Were you into Fish?
Oh wait, excuse me, did you say I wasn't into the Dead growing up?
No, I'm not into the Dead, but you weren't playing it. It wasn't part of your musical. It wasn't in your music. Was that? I don't know. Was it?
It was.
Oh.
I saw the Dead in 1991.
Oh, excellent. That's my first show, 91.
Or 92. It was the Steve Miller Band opened up for him at Giant Stadium. And I wore Tevas and tie-dyes, and I like.
But were you playing Grateful Dead music? Was that something that you did before?
No, I was more into like Zeppelin and Cream and The Who. Playing more like heavier music, but I liked listening to the Dead. I don't know why I didn't play the Dead, quite honestly.
Well, that's what I meant, is that you didn't get to it until Joe started saying. What was the first Dead song you learned? Do you remember?
Probably like Ripple with like my cousins, like when I was like, you know, 15, you know, and you're like, oh, this song is so cool. I don't know. It's like probably something like that, like a campfire kind of, you know, sing-along-y type song. But I had Shakedown Street on cassette. I had American Beauty on cassette. I had Terrapin Station on cassette. I liked them. the band I was in, though, we didn't play Grateful Dead. We played more like Doors, because the band was a trio. Actually, it was keyboards, guitar, and drums, and we did a lot of Doors stuff. and we did the Who and Cream, and we didn't play Dead growing up. But it is funny. And then I got way into jazz, and then it is interesting that I didn't start really playing all this Dead music until like literally like 5 years ago, or like
right. And so, but wasn't Bustle in the Hedgerow the first time that the five of you guys got to get? Was that the first time all five of you were together with Druids and had the players that are now JRAD?
Well, Bustle in Your Hedgerow started just with Joe and myself and Scott. But I'm gonna go turn the light on so it doesn't.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll keep everybody entertained. I'll do a little song and dance. I don't have any filters here like I do on my Instagram. Hi, everybody. How are you? Marco Benevento is our guest today on 420 Live with Jeff Kravitz. We're in his studio.
What up? Shouldn't I just play music for everybody? I mean, that's all.
Yeah, sure. Play a little music.
You don't want to hear me talking.
Hold on. I'm going to take me out and let you go. All right.
Can you hear this okay?
Go ahead. Let me hear. Play something.
Can you hear that?
Sounds great.
All right.
You can continue.
I can hear pretty good. There's too many things on my piano over here.
Wow. Is that a grand piano?
Yeah, it's a baby grand. It's a Steinway M from 1970. Yes.
And that's just in the studio. I guess you don't travel with that thing much.
I don't travel with the Steinway. No. The stuff that's in the studio here stays in the studio. Otherwise, somehow it breaks.
I gotcha.
Even if it's just in the studio, it might break. It's just my thing. But yeah, all this stuff in here is pretty old. But anyway, yeah, I've been writing a lot of music and staying busy in here, which has been cool. I've also been teaching my kids a bunch of piano. They've been into it.
How old are your kids now?
10 and 13.
So are they a little bit pent up from the COVID, or they've been getting out running around?
They're kind of at like a good age, considering or comparing to other friends of mine who have kids that are older and even younger. Like our friends have a 16-year-old, and he like just started dating this girl like right before COVID, and he's kind of like all bummed out and sad that he can't see her. But every once in a while, you'll see them walking like 6 feet apart from each other down the street. And I'm glad that like my kid's not at that age where she's like, "Well, boyfriend, I want to see my boyfriend," and I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." You know, she's 13, so she's like the oldest is 13, so she's cool. She's just like into like Marvel and like watching movies and playing piano and going on bike rides with us and things like that. She's not too complaining. And the 10-year-old is just like Legos and like making all sorts of weird projects and just being a busy bee. It's okay. Everybody knows we don't really do sleepovers anymore, like dinner parties anymore. It's like they're okay. But honestly, they're doing all right.
Your whole life you've been on the road pretty much that they've been alive, right? You probably have been around.
Yeah. Last night and tonight, my wife went to Ithaca to visit her sister. So it's just me. And like the girls are like, this is so cool. Like just you. Because normally it's just like us with mom. But like with you, it's really chill. It's really cool. And I was like, right on. Like, thanks. They like just said that just tonight at dinner. Like it was just nice to hear. I was like, oh, right on. Well, thanks, kids. Nice to re-meet you again.
We'll get to know you again. I mean, and to be there for all the little minutiae stuff that you're usually out on the road and you don't have time to focus on, you know, has to be, I know it's eye-opening for all the guys. I've talked to the Humphreys guys. They all have younger kids. And that has been a lot of stress off their wives' plate because now they're all home helping out. Yeah,
man. I mean, before all this stuff happened, I said to Karina, like at a festival, like this last festival we played before this, my last gig, basically like March 10th, or I don't remember the date, somewhere around there. I was like, yo, K-Rock, I need like 2 months off. Like we've been going so hard, like since September, because we put out a record in September. So from September to basically the beginning of March, we were everywhere, including Japan and just all over the place. And so this thing happened and it was almost a blessing in disguise. I mean, it totally sucks now. But at first I was like, this is cool. I mean, it doesn't suck now for me personally. I just mean in general, the world.
Yeah, of course. It was an uprooting of our lives.
Yeah. So, you know, but anyway, it was a much needed break and it feels real good. It feels awesome to be home to help my wife and to just be more engaging with the kids and everything like that. So it's the best. I'm also just practicing a lot and, you know, writing a bunch of music. It's I'm kind of, and living in Woodstock is amazing. You know, it's like you, like where you're at. I can't believe you're right on the water right there. That looks amazing. But like, you know, being in amazing. Yeah. Being in a beautiful, I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to be in New York City or in any city right now, you know, getting around. The cities are like meant for going out and partying and having a good time. And you kind of can't do that anywhere. So it's nice to be in the country surrounded by peacocks and goats and chickens and my children and my wife and, you know, all the music here in the studio. So
how long ago did you move out there?
We moved out here. It's going to be 10 years coming up. Coming up. Actually, next year it'll be 10 years. So about 10 years.
Ah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful part of the country and great historical. I mean, the musical history from around there too.
Yeah, I came up. I actually played with Levon before he passed away at the barn when Joe was playing with Phil at the barn. I don't remember what year that was. It was probably 2011 or 2010. And I got a chance to just like hang out at the barn, play with Phil, play with Joe, play with Levon. And I just remember like being completely embraced, like by everybody, by Amy, his daughter, by everybody in the barn, like Marco. And I'm like, I'm moving up here. And they're like, yes, come. You know, and as soon as I moved, it was like Amy, you know, had me overdub something on a record she was working on. And also her dad, you know, was playing drums on it. And then Larry Campbell was like, oh, I need some piano and something. And then, you know, all these people, so many people were just like, put keyboards on our records and, you know, and then it's like, oh, we're doing an anti-fracking benefit and Jack DeJohnette and John Medeski and, you know, they name, you know, and Donald Fagen, they're all going to be there. Do you want to play? And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Like, I think I moved to the right town. This is pretty awesome. And then, you know, there's just a lot of even younger musicians around here who are really talented, and there's a rock academy here, and that's really cool. Anyway, yeah, living the dream up here, and it's great.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Have you done anything with the JRAD guys? Have you done any of those virtual performances where everybody plays on Zoom and you piece it together or anything?
We just we just get together and we all meditate and say we love each other
on Zoom.
We do JRAD meditational breathing exercises every once in a while. No, we've been in contact about what the hell to do. We have those guys. It's kind of funny. It's basically, so like for the last 5 months or whatever, I get calls every once in a while about like a brilliant idea that someone has. Like, we're gonna do a show at a drive-in theater. Like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. And then like nothing happens. And then it's like you get a call. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? Everyone's gonna quarantine. We're gonna go to Brooklyn Bowl. We're gonna all get together. We're gonna stay overnight at the bowl. And you're like, okay, yeah, sure, I'm in. You know, and then like that goes away. And then it's like, we're gonna get together in the country. We're gonna put out some cubicles in your yard, and you can have some shows right from your garage. We'll sell tickets. And we'll do a donation. You know, and you're like, all right, it's a great idea. Let's just do that. Let's just have shows in my own yard. And 2 weeks later, no call. You know, you're like, everyone they have great ideas, but it's hard to implement them because of all the news and everyone getting a little scared towards the last minute about what to do. So everyone's had a lot of ideas of what to do, but we haven't quite put it together. Yeah.
And then you have stuff with the chain smokers happen in the Hamptons where there's people not social distancing, and that was a drive-in show, and then it creates a problem where the press starts looking at it. So then any ideas you have, you're like, we don't want to be that guy.
Exactly. It's like the person who filmed the hallway, of their school, and no one was wearing a mask, and they got expelled, and then it's like the video footage was like, it was like, but then like meanwhile, like 900 people, or I don't know how many people got like COVID later, and you're like,
you're talking. That was in Georgia that happened, right?
Yeah, Georgia, right. So I don't want to be.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to be like, it's hard to dive into. It's hard to dive into making moves because you're, in the end, you kind of get a little scared, and you're like, is this worth it? Like I've been offered many private little things to do, like in Aspen, Colorado, and in Florida, and then and you're like you're like, oh, maybe I should just go out there and try to scoop up this dough, this little private party dough, because I need it right now. And then you're like, oh wait, but I gotta get on 3 planes. Well, I gotta get on like 6 planes because it's like 3 planes on the way there, and you're like, and then you're just like, you know what, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's too much.
I'm kind of freaked out with like the kids and all that stuff. So
well, when you have the generations, that's a problem, right? When you got the parents and you got the kids and you have all the people at home, and then that's what always ruins the decision. And again, no leadership telling you what's okay and what works and what can work, because they don't want to believe science, and then it just creates such a hysteria amongst the people because you're rudderless.
Yeah, I agree completely. I get like have mild panic attacks when I watch Democracy Now, while we're cooking dinner. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like it is. It's like we all need to just chill out, wear masks, and like do nothing. Like, don't go to the pool party. Don't go to the barbecue. Don't go to the birthday party. Do it next year. And it's funny how it's like, you're like, I'm going to go to the birthday party. And it's like, I'm going to have a party. I'm going to have a biker rally.
Well, it is interesting that every time you see something on the press, you're like, I can't wait for 2 weeks from now. And you know what I'm talking about right now is what happened last weekend.
Which is very sad,
Sturgis. Sturgis with all the people, and you're just like,
oh right.
I wonder. I bet you next week you're going to hear. But the thing is, all these people came from all over the country to go there, and then they're all going to go back to wherever they were. And it could be bad. We might not hear about it. I mean, it's so weird. I just don't know what to believe anymore.
I'm with you. I agree. I mean, even doing that 12-person party, I was like, kids, don't go don't just, here's some hand sanitizing spray. Just if you touch anything, just, and it's just like high alert. It's nerve wracking. You're like, do I really need to be on this deck playing for, minimal, or, playing for some money? It's not like it's going to save my, everything, but it's like, I'm doing it for the pleasure of myself and also for the pleasure of the people, and the fact that I get to like pay a couple bills with it is very, very helpful. But is it really worth it? And then, it's like it's just it's nerve-wracking. I feel like everybody feels the same way. Or, well, I guess that's not true, because some people are just fed up and they're like, we're going to the biker rally and we're going to the whatever.
But like I said, politicized also, because the people that are voting one way aren't going to do that, but the people that are voting the other way are going to do that.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting.
Yeah. The fact that there's a whole election coming up is like, it's the worst time for everything right now. Like, it's just.
What do you think of the selection of Kamala?
Oh, I think it's, upon learning about it, I think today or
yesterday.
Superficially, I'm like, oh yeah, this seems good. And I just watched we get our news from Democracy Now, and I'm watching it about her. I thought that was really cool. I think it's great. Yeah, I think that's awesome news. But I really don't know quite much about it, so I'm a little like, I got to dive in. I haven't really.
Yeah. Well, at this point, there's really no decision. You just want rid of the other guy, and exactly. People can read a security report.
It looks too good to be true, quite honestly. I'm like, this looks almost like staged. Like, what?
They said she's the most progressive vice president candidate ever in the history of America.
Well, that's great. That's everything that everybody wants to hear, and hopefully it'll work. I mean, I'm completely on board. Absolutely.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
So I was in the pool today listening to the record. It was released in September, but you really have so many different influences. I mean, I was hearing some Portugal the Man on there. It had that kind of retro kind of feel to it.
I've heard that from many people because of the falsetto and the.
Yeah, did you always have a falsetto, or was that something?
I mean, of course, I've always had a falsetto. Yeah. But I never used it on a record. It was quite fun to do, and now that I've opened up that can of worms, I'm doing more of it. Sorry.
But it was really cool. And my friend who was listening to it was like, boy, he's doing some Keith Emerson ripping on that B3 on the end. Was that an influence of yours, Keith Emerson?
Oh my God, absolutely. John Lord, totally. Keith Emerson, the Hammond, like the rock. Like the who was my favorite was or specifically what record was my favorite as far as the sound of the Hammond organ goes is Tony Williams' Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Emergency, and it's Larry Young playing the organ, and it's like the organ through like a Leslie and a Fender Twin, or maybe just a Fender Twin, but it's just like completely like some other world. So yes, a big fan of like the heavy organ, Deep Purple, Keith Emerson kind of sound, even like as visceral and as like popular as Magic Steppenwolf, like Magic Carpet Ride, like, just like the crazy cool like broken organ sound. But anyway, yeah, there's like elements of like there's like a solo on the record that's kind of like, whoa, like Keith Emerson, crazy messed up organ solo, and then it's like, whoa, Portugal the Man, falsetto singing like almost like a pop tune. I don't know. I got my foot in a lot of different things. I do like the sort of simplicity of just having a 2 minute or 2.5 minute or 3 minute sort of poppy kind of sounding song. I like that sort of challenge to try to figure out how to do that. That kind of sounds like it's from me and from my heart and from what I'm coming from. And then I also have the drive to write a song that's like 6 minutes long that has a crazy cool Keith Emerson like organ solo at the end.
Yeah, there were some great instrumentals on there too. I mean, it was really well produced. I mean, it sounded great, and it definitely had a sound to it. The whole record had like kind of a vibe, which is really cool to be able to dial in, because some things are so all over the place. But
absolutely, that is all due to Leon Michaels, the producer I worked with. And if you've never checked him out, I highly recommend checking him out on Spotify or wherever. He goes by L. Michaels Affair, and he has like great, just production-wise, great music, just and arrangement-wise, very cool arrangements, cool sounds. he also has guests like Lee Fields and the Shacks is another band he works with, and Charles Bradley, lots of other folks. But anyway, it's like my music through his lens, through his filter. And basically, I since we made the record, we hang out all the time. He also plays tennis, so we play tennis all the time. And then like after we hang out, he'll be like, "I need you to overdub some Montuno on this track," or I'm like, or I played on a bunch of stuff that he's made just because we've hung out and a bunch since we made the record. And the reason we connected, Leon and I, is through a mutual friend who passed away a few years ago, Richard Swift, who we made a record with in 2013. And Richard and I became friends and remained friends. And then Richard and Leon were in a band called the Arcs that Dan Arbeck started 3 years ago or so.
Right, I remember that. I actually think I saw them at some festival.
Yeah, and I played their last 3 shows with them on a certain tour because Leon had to leave because he was having his kid, and Richard recommended that I sub for Leon to Dan, and so I subbed for him for 3 gigs. And then I was like, "Who's Leon?" Like I knew everybody else in the band except for Leon, and I like checked his music out, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it's like, you're like, "Oh geez, this is not good. This is so good." No. And it's just like instant fan and instant like, how the hell is he making this music? What is going on here? Like I need to get into the brain of Leon and what he's up to. So I asked him if he would be into making a record. He said yes, and we recorded it in Queens and then finished it upstate where he now lives. He lives not far from me. But anyway, that record sounds real good because of that mofo. He's really talented.
Yeah, it definitely has a unique style. But that was 3 years since your last record, not to bust your balls. And
don't worry, my manager has busted me for that shit too. It's like, you really got to put something out. I'm like, I'm not done.
And so what are you writing now? You're working on some new songs, or you're writing lyrics? What are you doing?
Yeah. I can't wait I need to share some of these demos with you or with more people. But I have well, you know what? Full disclosure. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So I really like using SoundCloud. Do you use SoundCloud?
Yes.
I just like that platform. It's just cool. I don't know. So I've uploaded on SoundCloud. I have a bunch of demos and a bunch of versions of songs from Let It Slide in its demo form. It's kind of like my Dropbox to like
gotcha.
Send to Leon even and be like, this is what I'm working on. Go here. So on SoundCloud, I have all the old stuff and all the new stuff that I'm working on just sort of floating around there, and nobody knows it because it's not under my name. I have it under another name, but I'm going to tell you the name, and it's under I'm a DJ Too. And if you type in I'm a DJ Too on SoundCloud,
got the number 2?
No, like TOO. I'm a DJ Too. And so there's a bunch of demos up there, and also for long drives, I made like mixes from vinyl where I would just hang out in my studio and have 2 turntables and make like an hour and a half or 2 hour long mix for a long road trip the next day. So there's like 10 or more of those on there as well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Why don't you play us another little tune here if you don't mind?
I don't mind at all.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Marco Benevento.
Woo! If you ever come to my house and knock upon my door, somebody's gonna tell you, baby, not to ever come back no. Said I know, baby, high classified. If you ever come to my house and knock upon my door, somebody's gonna tell you, baby, not to ever come back for more. Said I know, baby, high classified. That ain't no lie. I'm so glad someone told me, baby, high classified. Thank you.
Ah, very nice.
I'm just messing around, man. I'm just messing around.
I love it. So when you play Josh's place, are you doing that live so people can contribute and virtual tip jar and thing like that?
Yeah, they actually did an analog tip jar, which was kind of cool. So I got handed even more cash than I thought I was gonna get at the end of the night, which was very, very cool.
So can people watch it from virtual land?
I could ask him if
Yeah, I'll talk to Josh. I think it might be a good idea to set up a little stream when you're up there, and then you'd set up a little virtual tip jar, and
Oh, anything. I am so in. I am so in. Where do I sign? What do I gotta do?
Well, I love the can-do spirit, Marco. It's what we need right now.
I mean, cause I can do spirit right now because I haven't been able to do anything for the last however many months, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go play here. If anybody reaches out to me and it's like reasonable and it like makes sense and it feels safe, and my kids and my wife can come, just it's like a very nice environment. I think he even sent out like a 6-page email about.
He's detail-oriented guy.
Yeah, and like, you know what? That's what I need to hear. I don't want to go. I don't need to. I mean, I don't need to put myself at risk. We have kids. We have grandparents. Like, no, chill out. But if it's really dialed in, I mean, I'm all for.
People are asking for your PayPal. You want to give me your? You have a Venmo or PayPal? You want to give me?
Oh my goodness, yes, please.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't even know. Sorry, guys. You're gonna.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll get it from you later, and I'll share it on the show.
I do have a Venmo. I have a Venmo. It's just my name. You could easily find me on Venmo, PayPal. You know. Oh wait, look. I can tell you right now. I'll show you. Here we go. Venmo, PayPal, Venmo, PayPal. I don't know. This is not. Nobody wants to see me looking at my phone, telling you about my.
Nowadays, you would be surprised what passes for entertainment.
Where's my manager when I need him? What do I hit to like know what to do? Okay. Anyway, there I am. I see myself. Oh, PayPal me. I got it. Here it is. Oh, okay. All right, you guys. This is. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh yeah. This is Marco Benevento 22.
Okay, there it is. Oh, there it is. Perfect. All right. Everybody can see that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Bah. Anyway,
Marco, a little cash. Tell me you saw him on 420 Live playing for us tonight. I really appreciate hearing live music. We all miss it so much. And you guys always do such a great job of filling the void. I mean, what's happened in your career and with JRAD is, you know, that's some of the best music out there right now. And I love the way that you're all able to show your chops and the way you guys all meld together when you play. It's a beautiful thing, and the way you control that music now. And I agree. It took a couple years for you guys to get it under your belt, but now it's.
Yeah. I think the best thing about JRAD is obviously Joe, and the fact right next to Joe, obviously a little lower than Joe because Joe is just a superhero, is the fact that our leader, our band leader, right, just on a very simple, plain, elemental fact, our band leader is the drummer. So the drummer can't hit he can't hit an F sharp, he can't hit an A, he has no notes, you know.
True.
All he has is you know,
the beat.
Well, check it out. So and then the beat is like how slow it is, or how fast it is, or how quiet it is, or how loud it is. And what I love about Joe is that he uses all of that stuff like brilliantly and like with total reckless abandon, just like, fuck you, we're getting louder, or fuck, you know, or this is crazy, this is boring, we're getting faster, or this is way too fast, we're gonna slow this and chill this out. It's gonna be really cool. And it's really nice to be led by the drummer, you know, because he has the element of time and dynamics of loud.
Yeah, he didn't have that luxury in Further though, where he had two guys that wanted to play completely different tempos on every song.
I know. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's like a kind of hired gun at that point, so he kind of has to make them feel happy and fit in, and also not really coming so much from that background, also just trying to be like, is this right, you know? But
oh, he killed that.
I'm sure that was. I can't even imagine the amount of stress that he went through with being like, no worries, dude, just MSG. You know,
sold out.
Hopefully, you might know this song. You know, and he's like, I don't know this song at all. But it is quite amazing how he just destroyed it in that world. It's really, really cool
thing. Well, all you guys, you, Joe, I mean, you keep us entertained, you keep us on our toes, and we're looking forward to having you back on the scene. So thank you for coming in today and touching base with us, and I look forward to seeing you in person.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for having me, and come to Josh's porch. Try to sneak in without a ticket.
I'm going to talk to him about setting up a little webcast. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm so into it. I'm just I'm kind of over it. I'm like, I'll just do whatever, man. I'm a piano player for hire.
There you go. Marco Benevento. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take it easy, buddy. Great show today there. True professional. Marco playing some music for us. You know, we got a little live music on the show today. We love that. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace, love, happiness, everybody out there. The hug. I'm taking the day off tomorrow because I'm driving back out of here, but I will see you back on Friday, and big week.